Hello, dear friends. How are you doing today? I am very happy for several reasons. First of all, I have been doing the high carb, low fat diet for about 2 months, I would say. And I have lost 8 kilos. 8 kilos, that's yay! I'm very happy about that. The other thing I'm happy about is that summer is finally coming and we can finally find summer fruits and vegetables. So I go to the market and there's plenty of stuff like melons, watermelons, peaches, apricots, all these nice and summer fruits and vegetables. And I thought I'd make a typical summer food today, which is stuffed tomatoes and peppers and zucchinis. And why do I say typical summer food? Because as you might already know, we cannot just make any food any time of the year. You cannot make stuffed tomatoes and stuffed zucchinis during the winter because it's not a winter food. Tomatoes grow during spring and summer, and that's when they taste and they smell the best, and they're giving the best results in our food. Now, this is not a high carb, low fat food. This is a traditional way we make the food. So there is oil and there is salt, but I'll probably make some of them like with no olive so I can heat them as well. Anyway, so let's go to the kitchen. I will cook for 3 people, so we'll need about 3 tomatoes, 2 bell peppers, 2 zucchinis, 2 onions, a few potatoes, some olive oil, rice, a cup of rice, and of course parsley and spearmint, as well as of course salt and pepper, and a little bit of tomato juice. Now, when you go to the market and choose a tomato, you should choose a very nice and red ripe tomato, big because you need to fill it up, but not too big, otherwise the ratio of stuffing and tomato will not be the best. And then peppers. Unfortunately, I am not in Greece. In Greece, we mostly cultivate green peppers, whereas today I only found these yellow peppers, which will do the thing. It's okay. And even more important is the parsley and the spearmint. I unfortunately do not have fresh spearmint, but my spearmint comes from Greece actually, thanks to my mom who provides me with spearmint and oregano from Greece. And then some good olive oil. And then about the rice, there are different options. You can either use risotto rice or just a long grain rice. I prefer long grain rice because I like to feel the rice in my mouth when I eat my stuffed tomatoes. I don't want this, mushy kind of texture. I like to actually feel the rice, so I'm using long grain, whole brown rice. And we will preheat the oven at, for me, is 200 degrees Celsius. For you American people, that would be 390 approximately degrees Fahrenheit, and we are using the option up and down heat, not the air heat. Okay, first of all, choose your pan. I'm using this one. Just choose the one that you can fit your things in it. Just test it to make sure that everything fits inside, largely. And then we will put the potatoes, we'll peel them when we cut them, and we'll put them in between. I'm going to need a knife, a spoon, and a bowl. So, in the bowl, I will cut the tomato like this. Okay. This part I'm keeping because it will cover the top of the tomato. I'm going to remove this little part over here, which is kind of rigid and we don't like to chew on that. So removed. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to carve the inside of the tomato in order to put it in the filling. So this is how we do it. So slowly, be careful not to destroy the tomato. We're going to want to leave a relatively thick wall if you want to actually taste the tomato as you're taking a nice bite. And then all the juice we need. This is very important that you get all the juices. And then we carve, and this is what you're left with. These are my carved tomatoes, and this is what's in the bowl. Okay, they're insides with all the juices. And now for the bell peppers. So with the knife, okay, so I'm going to tell you, some people prefer cutting it like that, so they have this part on the top and they can eat the whole thing. Some other people though, they put it upside down, so they cut it like that, they eat this part, and then it's true that the pepper stands better like that. You can do it as you want, it doesn't matter. I'll do one of each, who cares? Okay, but the thing is, when you cut it like this part's okay, it's going to be the lid if you want. But then you need to take off this part of the pepper, so this white part, okay, and you can either throw this away like so, or even better, you can take off the little grains over here, okay, because we don't eat that, but keep the white part, okay. This is what I'll do actually, and I will put that in the mixture of the stuffing because it gives it a very nice perfume, a bell pepper perfume. This is what's left, the white part without the grains, and we're going to put it in the mixture. But then if we choose to do the other pepper otherwise, then we have to cut like this. This will be the lid that we'll directly eat. But then again, we'd have to take this part off, of course, because we don't want to eat that part. So this is my one bell pepper, which will have this on top. And this is my other bell pepper, which will have this edible part on top. And lastly, the zucchinis. The zucchinis, you can either take these round tomato-shaped like zucchinis that are easier to fill, but these taste a little better. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut them in half like this, and then we will, as we did with the tomato and the pepper, we will carve the interior very carefully and put it in our mixture. So we will do that like that. This takes a lot of patience. If you have a good tool to do that, go ahead and use it. I'm like archaic here, I'm just using a spoon, but if you have something better than a spoon, go ahead and use it. What you want to do is carve as much as possible from the inside, but without damaging or cutting the edges of the zucchini, because you want to keep everything inside. Of course, if you do break the end of the zucchini, it's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. Okay, and this is what the zucchinis look like in the end. They are quite hollow, and we can put some filling in them. There's no lid for the zucchinis. Okay, so in my bowl, there's this. This is a result of all the insides of all of the vegetables I used and I carved, and we're going to mash them up. I will use this tool for this job, which is kind of soft because you don't want to
make a puree out of all that. You want to keep little pieces anyway. So be careful with your ears, and let's go. This gives us a little something like that. So there are little pieces in, but it's quite liquid. It's exactly how we want it to be. And then in this mixture, we will add the rice. I have here 1 cup. I feel it's a bit exaggerated. I'll put a little less. I'll put like 3/4 of a cup. Yeah, I think that will be enough because the rice will rise when cooked, and it will absorb all this liquid that is contained in the bowl. So yeah, maybe 3/4 of a cup is quite enough. And then we will add this. Oh my god, this smells so good. I wish there was some way to show you how it smells. The spearmint, it's amazing. So we will put a lot of it, like that would be more than a tablespoon. It's actually what gives the stuffed tomatoes this characteristic scent, which we all love. Then we'll take the parsley and we'll chop it in. And last but not least, let's not forget that there's actually no food that I know of. Well, there must be one food. Practically no food without onions. So we'll chop them and we'll put them inside as well. There we go. So we pour that in as well. And at this point, I would like to say that many people like to invent things with this food.
Like for instance, some people like to put raisins, which is fine, or seeds like pine seeds, which is also fine. But let's stick to the traditional, which is rice and rice only. And the traditional recipe is vegan. It does not have minced meat. So if you happen to go in Greece and find some stuffed tomatoes, we call that Gemista in Greek. Just make sure that they don't have minced meat inside, because some people do that. But the traditional recipe does not contain any meat. It's a vegan recipe. So to that, we will add olive oil, 1/2 cup.
And at this point, if you're on a high carb, low fat diet, you probably want to skip this part. And if you don't care at all about fat, you can put even 1 cup of olive oil. It's just fine. We're going to gently mix those ingredients together, because we want the rice to be like everywhere, and all the juices and the pieces of the insides of all the vegetables, we want them to be everywhere, and that's what's going to give a perfect taste and scent to our food. Now, the tricky part. I suggest to you use a small spoon to fill your vegetables. Why? Because you have better control of the quantity. So, with a small spoon, put the filling inside, but be careful, because all of that will rise during cooking. You don't want to fill more than this portion, like 3/4 of your vegetable volume. Okay, now we'll do that with all. That's why it's good to have big vegetables, but not too big. Okay, so last tomato, I'm going to do that. I'm going to take off some because it's too much. Parsley got stuck here. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with the bell pepper. This one's a tricky one. You can fill up the peppers with more filling than you can do with tomatoes. Okay, that will be about 3/4. Actually, no, I much prefer this one, the one which is cut with this part on top, because not only it's easier to carve it, but it's much easier to fill it up as well. So yeah, next time I will definitely cut them all like this. The big one, there's a little bit more room there. Yeah, all of the filling will rise, and it will overwhelm the vegetables. And lastly, the zucchinis. This is even more tricky because they're narrow. Their hollow end is narrow, so do not overfill them. And then because they don't have a lid, what you're going to do is you're going to put them together in your pan. Well, look at that. My filling is more or less the good quantity. That's a surprise. So then when you put them in the pan, you want to do this so that they serve as a lid to each other. Okay. Last two. There you go. So last two, I reunite them, put them as so, and then we will cover the tomatoes with their lid. Doesn't have to be their lid, it can be like another tomato's lid. Nobody will judge you for that. And then like this and like this for the peppers. Okay, this is what the pan looks like, but it's not over yet. And then we will take the potatoes, peel them and chop them and put them in the pan together with our vegetables. Now you can put as many potatoes as you wish, it doesn't matter. It's just mostly for decoration than any other thing. So just chop them like that. I use 6 small potatoes and I just chop them in 4. You don't want to chop them very small because this food will be cooking for about an hour. So if they're very small, you risk burning them and you don't want that. So just, you know, here and there to decorate. Okay, and then what you need to do is use some tomato sauce. This is just tomato juice, no sauce, no nothing. Just pour it in between a little bit. You don't need much. Okay, like that. It's like a sauce, you see. Okay, that was about maybe half a cup. And then you can pour some oil over the vegetables, which will make them crispier, and that will prevent also them getting stuck or burnt. So yeah, not high carb, low fat. And lastly, a little bit of water. At this point, you might want to add salt and pepper on top or not, it's your choice. And the other thing that you can do is just, if there's a little bit of filling left, it's okay, you can just put it in. It will go nicely with your sauce. Just pour it in, like so.
So this is what our pan looks like. Look at it, it's beautiful, I love it. So we will put that in the oven and we'll let it cook for at least an hour. Word of advice, put your tray on the bottom of the oven. And why, you ask? Because that's the way it cooks the best. If you like it a little bit crispy, well cooked, that's the way to do it. And if that argument isn't enough, then because that's the way my mom does it, and she knows something more than I do for sure. She has been cooking for years and years and years, and her suggestion is put it on the bottom of the oven. Okay, so we'll be back in about an hour or so. We'll check from time to time to see if there's enough water because we don't want to burn them either. And we'll see how long this will take. It might vary from oven to oven, from vegetable to vegetable, so we'll check closely. See you later. I'm so excited to see what happened an hour later, so let's go. Woohoo! That looks amazing, and I cannot even start to describe the smell. Like the scent of it is just something beautiful. So I really hoped you liked the video. I cannot wait to taste them. Sorry, French kiss. In case you want to just directly jump on them and eat them as soon as they come out of the oven, do not do so. They really taste a lot better if you just let them absorb all the liquids. So that means that you really need to wait for maybe an hour before eating them. And you can also eat them in room temperature. You can even eat them cold from the fridge. Some people do that, not me. Anyway, so if you have any other suggestions or ideas or comments, feel free to write a comment below. And if you'd like to subscribe, you're more than welcome. If you don't. And yeah, I'll see you next time with another amazing Greek vegan recipe. Ciao!